Evergreen Heart. By Oprian. Chapter 6. Bridal Gossip. This was going to be all kinds of awkward, I just knew it, but still I trotted on with Zecora walking just in front and to the left of me. We didn't talk much during our trek, instead we simply enjoyed the outdoors. It was quite a nice day with nary a cloud in the sky. Guess the weather team was up early today to bust all the clouds. Must be nice being a Pegasus, making the weather actually sounded like it might be an enjoyable job. Zipping through the skies, placing or busting clouds. I've often wondered what it's like to fly, but even if I had wings I'd probably be too scared to get very far off the ground. Fear of heights, you see. I've also got an irrational fear of bees, which come to think of it could be a problem now that I'm a plant. The idea of being constantly bugged by bees attracted to me freaked me out. I kept looking from bush to bush and flower to flower, dreading the sudden appearance of the little black and yellow monsters. I became so distracted to the point where I failed to see a rock in the middle of the road, and as a result tripped over it and did a full face plant. And there goes my dignity right out the window, again. Well, I wasn't using it anyway. I swear it's a good thing this body doesn't feel pain. At least not in the conventional sense. I thought your control was getting better. Or did you simply desire to rest? There are less drastic ways to tell me, so you know. Zecora said with a twinkle in her eyes. If this form had hands I would have flipped her off. Yes, let's all laugh at the clumsy tree creature. Why don't you lend me a hoof instead? I'm fine, by the way, I mumbled from my not so comfortable position on the ground. She gave me a semi-apologetic look and helped me back to my hooves, but that damn twinkle never left her eyes. I can't blame her too much though. I mean, I've done my fair share of laughing at other people doing stupid stuff, face planting among them. At least she had the decency to hide it. At last we came upon the edge of the Everfree and the dirt road leading to Ponyville. Are you sure you want to wear that? I said, pointing to her worn traveling cloak. Is there something wrong with it? No offense, Zecora, but it makes you look a bit creepy with your face hidden in shadow under that hood. You know how ponies are a skittish lot. I had not considered that. Why do you wear a cloak in the first place? Mostly force of habit. During my travels I've gone to many a place that did not have such a temperate climate. This cloak has shielded me from scathing sun and biting cold. I feel rather comfortable in its folds. Well, with such a nice sunny day it seems like a shame to hide beneath it. Why don't you put it in your saddle basket for now? After thinking it over a moment she decided to take my advice and put the worn cloak away. Hopefully the ponies would respond a bit more positive this way. As we came upon the small stone bridges at the edge of Ponyville we were spotted by a mare I did not recognize. Then again, there are so many background ponies it's hard to remember them all, if they even had names in the first place. She spotted us and promptly made a run for it. About a minute later the sounds of the first windows and doors being slammed shut drifted back to us. And that's my hope dashed that we could make this less awkward. Next to me Zecora let out a weary sigh. I'm guessing this wasn't the first time this happened. Or the second, or even third. And if I was any judge of character it bothered her more than she let on. She shook herself and trotted forward with determination towards the market square. Twilight Sparkle was having a good day, emphasis on the was. Because once she and Spike had gotten to Sugar Cube Corner things had taken a turn for the bizarre. Pinkie had beckoned her and Spike inside with a panicky stage whisper, only to find that the rest of her friends as well as Apple Bloom were also inside, hiding in the dark like a bunch of foals hiding from the bogey mare. Would some pony mind explaining what the hay is going on? Twilight said with a huff. It's that wicked enchantress Zecora. She's come back to town again. Y'all better keep your heads down, said Applejack as she glanced out the window. Excuse me? Who are you talking about? Twilight asked, confusion clearly written on her face. Pinkie and Applejack motioned her over to the window. We're talking about her, said Pinkie as she pointed with her hoof to where Zecora was approaching. You mean the zebra? The what? Everyone chorused. Twilight let out an exasperated sigh. She's a zebra. They are an equine species just like us ponies. They hail from Zebrica, a warm land far from Equestria, but I didn't know there was a zebra living in Ponyville. She doesn't, said Rainbow. Zecora lives in the Everfree forest. No pony in their right mind would hang out with some pony living in that place. Well then, who's the stallion she's with? Twilight retorted. Suddenly everyone crowded the window, trying to see who Twilight was talking about. I've never seen him before, Pinkie said. Oh me gosh. I'll need to throw him a welcome to Ponyville party. As soon as we get him away from that creepy Zecora. Wait a minute, something ain't right here, Rainbow said. That pony doesn't look right. What in the hay are y'all talking about? He looks like a regular stallion, Tommy, said Applejack. I'm sorry, but Rainbow is right. Something about him looks off. Fluttershy spoke timidly. How in the world can y'all tell? We're Pegasi, we got the best eyesight of all ponies. And I'm telling you there's something up with that guy. Maybe that wicked enchantress has put him in one of her evil trances. Pinkie shouted. Her what now? Twilight deadpanned. It's one of the many evil things she does. Oh, she's so evil I even wrote a song about it. Rainbow rolled her eyes as Pinkie Pie jumped up on the table. Here we go, she groaned. She's an evil enchantress and she does evil dances, and if you look deep in her eyes she will put you in trances. Then what will she do? She'll mix up an evil brew, then she'll gobble you up in a big tasty stew. So watch out, Pinkie Pie sang at maximum speed. Everyone stood there slack-jawed for a moment, staring at her. Wow, catchy. Twilight finally spoke up. It's a work in progress. All singing aside, what exactly is wrong with that pony? Twilight asked. Is he a zombie? Spike cried out as he hoisted himself up in order to look out the window. Ugh, Spike, there's no such things as zombie ponies. And this whole things is getting out of hoof. All of this is just rumors. Y'all don't know that Chui. It could all well be true. Applejack cut in. But, how will we know for sure? Fluttershy mumbled. Well, why don't some pony just go on up there and ask? Said Apple Bloom. Don't y'all spout such nonsense, Apple Bloom. Now hush and let the big ponies talk. Applejack said scathingly to her little sister. I am a big pony, and it ain't nonsense and ahm gonna prove it. Apple Bloom muttered under her breath as she snuck out through the back door in the kitchen while the main six bickered among themselves. Well, so far this had been a waste of time. Everywhere we went the streets were deserted. It's not like I wasn't expecting it, but it still gnawed at me. I could sense the ponies watching us. Hidden behind peepholes in doors and lurking behind drapes in their windows. Their eyes following our every move like a hawk. I couldn't hear them, but I'm sure wild rumors must be flying about now. If I've learned one thing, it's that rumors move at relativistic speeds. So why exactly did we come here? I asked Zecora as we crossed the market square. I was hoping to do some shopping for certain herbs and flowers that I need, but they seem to be closed yet again. I also wish to look for certain herbs that flourish in towns but struggle to grow in open fields. Sometimes their seeds can be found within the ground. Maybe I can assist with the latter. I let my senses reach out and pushed a little magic into them, sweeping over the ground around us. I didn't find any seeds in the vicinity, but my senses did pick up something else. Namely, a certain little filly who was trying her level best to approach us unnoticed. When she got within 10 yards of us, I turned to face the spot where she was hiding behind a cart laden with carrots and celery. You don't have to sneak up on us, you know. It's okay to just come on up and say hello. Apple Bloom let out a surprised gasp before slowly emerging from behind the cart. Her posture was slightly tense. Like a wound spring ready to snap into action. Zecora turned and greeted her with a smile, since I could not. Hey there, little filly. What is your name? Zecora said. Called Apple Bloom. So nice to see you again, Apple Bloom. I said as I extended a hoof to her in greeting. It was at that moment fate decided to be a right royal bitch. I guess she felt cheated or something. Because the moment I stuck out my hoof in greeting, a tiny black and yellow monster decided to land on it. Gaia. V. Gaditoff gaditoff gaditoff. I began to flail my front legs like an idiot. This of course angered the bee, who began buzzing around me in angry circles. That's when I completely spazzed out. Like I said, irrational fear to the point where it's become a phobia. I ran in a circle flailing and screaming. I even did a stop, drop and roll at one point as if I were on fire. Stop laughing. Bees are serious business. The bee in question had long since lost interest and flown off while I was on the ground twitching like I just had a stroke. Are you all right? Apple Bloom asked hesitantly. That's when I noticed all the other ponies staring and whispering from their doors and windows. The wicked enchantress has hexed him, said one. It's a torture curse, hide if you value your life, said another. She's turned that stallion into a monster to kill us all. Oh, for fuck's sake, I thought as I face-palmed, or face-hoofed in this case. I rolled over and got back on my hooves, shaking some of the dirt off. Would you all just calm down? She didn't hex or curse me, you ponies are being ridiculous. I yelled at them with exasperation. My strange voice sadly did nothing to allay their fears. The monster is on to us. It's angry. Run away. Every pony vanished in 10 seconds flat. And cue the chirping crickets. Oh, and there's the tumbleweed. Said Tumbleweed rolled on by awkwardly, carried by a tiny gust of wind. I'm so sorry, maybe we should get out of here before they decide to come back with pitchforks and torches. I mumbled to Zecora. I felt terrible. Here I was hoping we could just try to make a casual introduction and hopefully get the ponies used to us. But it seems my little freakout had pretty much ruined our chances. Goddamn bees. Screw you, Lady Fate, screw you right in the eye. I suppose it is wise to return when nerves have cooled, and rationality once again rules. As we walked out of Ponyville, our moods rather sour, a little voice grabbed our attention. Sorry y'all got such a cold welcome. Apple Bloom, I had completely forgotten she was there. But she had been following us all the way. It's not your fault, little one. Another opportunity will come. Perhaps next time they look they will not be so spooked. Zecora said. They're all just being a bunch of silly scaredy ponies. Out of the mouths of babes. I noticed her staring at me with a quizzical expression. You said it was nice to meet me again. But how can that be? I'm pretty sure we've never met, or I'd certainly remember a strange pony like yourself. You talk kind of funny like. Her blunt honesty was rather refreshing, it brought a smile to my face. Well, mentally anyway. Well, last time we met I looked a little different. Different how? Remember when you and your friends got attacked by timber wolves a while ago? She nodded. I was the creature that came to your rescue. She stopped dead in her tracks, her eyes went wide as saucers and her irises shrunk down to little pinpricks. She looked ready to bolt. I noticed Zecora giving me an odd look as well. That was you. I nodded. Don't be scared, I won't hurt you. Well, why didn't ya say so back then? Ya nearly gave us all a heart attack. This may sound silly, but at the time I didn't know how to speak. The look she gave me was full of skepticism. It's true, I swear. And I'm sorry I scared you, it's the last thing I wanted to do. It's a right, she said after a moment of thought while idly digging at the floor with a hoof. I'm just glad you girls are okay. I said as we resumed our trek back to the Everfree. As we walked, Zecora leaned over to me and said, You never told me you rescued a bunch of fillies from timber wolves. I tried to shrug but couldn't pull it off. I guess pony bodies aren't built to make that particular gesture. Must have slipped my mind. As we came to the edge of the Everfree, I turned to Apple Bloom, "You best head on back home from here. The Everfree is no place for a little filly." "Ah, but I have so many questions I wanna ask." "Maybe, but I bet your sister is worried about you and looking for you as we speak." Apple Bloom scowled, "She worries too much. I'm a big pony, I can take care of myself." "I'm sure you can, but as a big brother to a little sister, let me tell you, it's our job to worry about our younger siblings. Not because we don't believe they can do things on their own, but because we care about them and want to make sure they are happy and safe." "I guess so," she replied after a moment's thought, sounding mollified. "You should run along now. You don't want to get in trouble, right?" She nodded and started to walk away, but then stopped. "Hey, will ya come and visit me and my friends? I'm sure they'd like to say thanks, you know, for savin' our tails and all." "I can do that, but best clear it with your big sister first. I wouldn't want her to get the wrong idea about you and your friends meeting with strange ponies and all that." "I guess so." "When will you come to visit?" she asked. "How about the day after tomorrow?" Apple Bloom nodded, then took off with a dash, back to Ponyville. I turned back to Zecora. "Well, it didn't go as we hoped, but with any luck this will be the first step in removing the pony's fear of you, and me as well." She gave me a hopeful smile. "It would give me great elation to improve my reputation. If they can put their fears in the past, we can forge a friendship that will last. We'll make it happen somehow," I said as I moved into the forest. "Where are you headed?" "My home is the other way." "I know, but there is something I need to do. I've put it off for too long already, I might as well do it now. Hopefully I'll be back by sunset," I said as I resumed my way. "Where in the hay have you been, Missy?" Applejack said as Apple Bloom entered the farm at Sweet Apple Acres a few minutes later. "I went to talk to Zecora and that strange stallion." "You what?" Applejack shouted, causing Apple Bloom to flatten her ears at the sheer amount of volume. "Calm down and let me explain, sis." "Calm down? Calm down? Y'all could have gotten yourself cursed. Don't ya tell me to calm down." "But Applejack..." She started to protest, but the stubborn farm pony cut her off. "Don't ya go and but Applejack me. You go on and get to your room to think about your fool actions. I don't wanna see you till supper time. Now get." With a scowl, Apple Bloom stomped up the stairs. If looks could kill, Applejack's hat would have bursted into flame right then and there. As I walked through the forest, I began to pull in as much wood and plant matter as I could reach. My equine form began to warp and twist as my hind legs elongated and my spine extended before I pushed myself upright to resume my trek on two legs. I flared my magic and vines burst through my front hooves to form fingers, and my chest widened as my shoulders realigned. As much fun as moving around like a pony had been, it felt infinitely more comfortable and natural to move as a biped. The task ahead of me would require a good bit of physical strength, so I bulked up my form to ensure I was suited for the task at hand. As I reached my destination, I steeled myself for what I was about to do. My vines elongated as I grasped the big heavy boulder I had placed in front of the cave and heaved. In a minute or so the entrance was clear and I stepped inside. The air in the cave was moist, and it was probably a good thing this body lacked the ability to smell. I moved forward and quickly began the gruesome task of wrapping up the remains of my former self in vines and leaves. After 2 weeks in this cave, decomposition had well and truly set in. What remained of my former self was nothing more than rotting layers of meat and organ matter barely clinging to the bones. My face had been reduced to nothing more than a bare skull, its eye sockets dripping with a disgusting soup that had once been my eyeballs. And there were insects everywhere. I briefly considered spraying my remains with acid from my fly traps until they dissolved and just be done with it. But no, I wanted to do this properly. My gruesome package secure in its blanket of vines, I left the cave and began the second leg of my trek. During the past 2 weeks I had thought a great deal about what I wanted to do with my body. I finally decided to give it a proper burial. The next question then became where I would bury it. I didn't just wanna stick it in the ground in some random meaningless location. I first considered burying my body near Ponyville. But that would be a bit awkward. And I doubt Zecora would appreciate me digging a grave near her place either. No, after a lot of internal debating I decided there would be only one place I'd want my body to be buried. The one peaceful place in the entire Everfree forest. With deliberate steps I descended the ancient crumbling steps, and entered the cave of the Tree of Harmony.